The interesting thing is even when people came back, I think e-com continued to grow. It's not that we've seen a degrowth. So people, yes, went back to retail shops, went back to traveling, but they continued to use digital means to procure the products or services that they need.
We are here at the Under 30 Summit in Ilguna. The place is buzzing with young minds and budding entrepreneurs. We're joined by Leila Serhan, Senior Vice President and Group Country Manager, North Africa, Levant and Pakistan. It's a long title and an amazing person. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
The first thing I obviously have to mention is She's Next, because you do so much for the women. So talk to us a bit about the program and the impact it's had.
So She's Next is actually a global advocacy program that Visa has launched more than 3 years ago. We've been launching it globally, and we also brought it to the region. So you mentioned the region I cover, which is quite a vast region. We've run it in Egypt for 3 years. We've run it in Morocco now for 2 years. We're running it for the first time in Pakistan. And the idea is that it's about empowering women-led businesses with access to funding, but also with access to mentorship, trainings, and obviously, because we are Visa and because we are a global network that operates in more than 200 countries, access to a much wider network. I think what is important in She's Next is that it's a research-based initiative. So in every market we go, we actually conduct research to really understand what are the problems that women-led businesses face. And what we've seen in this region is 4 things that we need to do, 4 goals that we have with She's Next. One is helping them overcome the social barriers that they face as women, unfortunately, that they still face as women, the gender stereotypes. 2 is to help them get access to funding. 3, obviously, develop the skills they need to take their business to the next level, especially in a digital world. And obviously 4, as I mentioned before, the networking opportunity that it provides them.
I love that you mentioned the research and how you have such a wide network, but you still take due diligence for each market. What distinguishes Egypt and the region here? Why is it so different, and what can you advise the entrepreneurs to do so that they can really see some growth?
Yeah, so I think Egypt is definitely a vibrant market. Especially when we think of financial services and technology. So the fintech in Egypt has been really a success story over the years. What is special in Egypt is obviously it's a very young population, and I think this is probably why the Under 30 Summit happens in Egypt. It's a very young population. It's also a population of people that are entrepreneurs, and we've seen many success stories coming out of Egypt. If I look at the entire African continent, there are 4 markets that receive most of the funding from a fintech perspective, and Egypt is one of the 4. So it's a top 3 in the African continent receiving those funding. So there is definitely something buzzing about Egypt around entrepreneurship.
That's amazing. I'm glad you mentioned fintech, because we were discussing how so many people need to offer a better digital experience in order to retain that growth. Abandoned shopping carts, e-commerce gets affected. So talk to us about this.
Sure. So I think e-commerce has become so important. I mean, we've seen growth, but obviously the pandemic has boosted that growth. The interesting thing is even when people came back, I think e-com continued to grow. It's not that we've seen a degrowth. So people, yes, went back to retail shops, went back to traveling, but they continued to use digital means to procure the products or services that they need. The most important thing that small businesses need to do today is really how do they provide that option to their consumers. And that option needs to be seamless from the moment they enter the site and search for the products to the moment they check out and do the payment. And I think the best way, the best sites that we have seen are really the sites that, one, have provided the right level of security, because we know security in the digital world, there's a big risk online. Actually, we've just had a survey around security with consumers, and 80% of them actually told us they would want to understand a little bit more how is their payment secured on any shopping website that they go to. And the way we do this, and to make it seamless, we have a specific technology It will sound like a big word, but it's very easy. It's called tokenization. And what tokenization does is your 16-digit, card number, it actually masks it, encrypt it, and make it unique for every transaction that you want to do. So what happens when your card is tokenized and when you go on a website and you register your card for the first time, you do not need to do it every time you check out. So imagine you go, you buy, and in a click of a button, you're checked out.
That's amazing.
In a secure way.
That's a dream experience.
So this is something, for example, in a market like Egypt, we're working very closely with the Central Bank of Egypt and with all the players, whether these are website merchants or banks, to actually bring this technology, hopefully in the next, I would say by mid-2024, it should be enabled everywhere.
Wow, that is amazing. Thank you so much for your time and your insights. I'm sure many young minds will benefit greatly from this and we will see much more growth. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.